she wasn't commenting from her own point of view, really, but just trying to get...
Good. Well, thank you. We'll move on now to Triangle, the soap opera about crew and passengers on a ferry boat plying between Harwich, Esbjerg and Amsterdam, and now in its third season. In the first of this week's 2 episodes, seen early evening on Tuesday and Wednesday, there was a bomb scare on board. Just as the captain was about to call everyone to emergency stations, in walks the ship's lady manager, Sarah Hallam, with the bomb.
Here is your bomb.
Huh. Who took it down?
The man who put it there.
And where is he?
We put him in the brig where he belongs.
Who's we?
Doug, Barry and me.
You what? But how did you find this man?
Well, it's Lisa Watkins who deserves the credit. She noticed him earlier coming down from the rectifier room, but wasn't suspicious until she heard about the sabotage.
And who is Lisa Watkins?
Oh, she's just a cabin girl. She was outside 5 minutes ago making a nuisance of herself.
A nuisance?
Yes, so I sent her away with a flea in her ear.
You did?
Yes, she has orders like everybody else.
Yes, she's a cabin girl, and a very clever one, too.
Oh, I'm damned.
Oh, come on, Sarah. Where did you find this man?
In the Bellevue Lounge. Lisa spotted him.
Well, how did you get him to take it down?
Doug and Barry persuaded him.
Well, why didn't you report this?
I sent Lisa, but Charles sent her away with a flea in her ear.
Well, let me be the first. Well,
Yeah. Well done, Sarah.
Well, did you feel, Rosie Thomas, like giving Triangle a flea in the ear, or would you welcome it?
I'm a newcomer to Triangle, and I have to say I'm not quite an addict yet. I think it's suffering badly from its setting, which is neither glamorous romantic nor nostalgic romantic in a sort of brown-bread commercial way, and I think it's sadly lacking in sort of ordinary realism. My experience of North Sea ferries is that everything, including the passengers, heaves up and down all the time, and on the Anglia, the only things that are going up and down are Captain Anderson's eyebrows, and the rest of the thing is as flat as a Studio C. I think the kindest thing that could be said for it is that lots of things happen with bewildering rapidity, but all the crew have all this flung at them, and everybody reacts to everything in exactly the same way, and all the men are very craggy and frown a lot, and all the women have very wide, wistful eyes as though something rather sad has just happened to them, except for plucky, perky Lisa Watkins, who enjoys an inexplicable popularity on board. I don't know what Joan Greenwood is doing in all this. She's looking exactly like Maudie Littlehampton.
Yes.
And just as Maudie probably would look if she was asked to sail steerage out of Harwich. My sympathy is all with the sneery new assistant barman who seems to regard the whole setup as something to be promoted up and out of as quickly as possible. Not one for me.
Bill Forsyth, what did you think of it?
Well, I think they should kind of divert it and send it to the Falklands as a domestic, as a dormitory ship, something like that. But really, it's I think the less I say about it, the better, because I don't want to be unkind. But I really feel sorry for the actors having to kind of say the words, because at least the writer and the director can go away and hide, but the actors have got to actually stand up there and speak the words as if they believe them.
Say them very, very
But
slowly.
the whole balance of it, I mean, everything, even soap operas, need some kind of basis and realism, and the kind of big giveaway in this is the fact that the real people, the passengers, you know, they're walk-ons, they don't actually get words to say. And I'm very suspicious of TV shows where someone comes up to the bar for a drink and then he can't actually ask for it because he's not being paid to say words, so he's got to ask for a drink in mime. Even the Mad Bomber didn't get any dialogue. You would think that the Mad Bomber would get a line of dialogue out of it. I'm sure his agent kind of struggled to get at least a line of dialogue for him, but that kind of distortion of reality I don't think is worthwhile.
The bomb episode was marginally better than the one the following day, didn't you think? I mean, that really didn't make much sense at all. Alexei, what did you feel?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've been following Triangle for quite a long time, actually.
Oh, you're an addict, are you?
No, I'm not an addict, but I've taken a kind of peripheral interest in it. I mean, first of all, because I think it's quite interesting, because you're sort of watching something and think, oh no, they're not going to say that.
And then they do.
Yeah, and there was one great episode where they were obviously filming at sea in a force 9 gale, and everybody was wedged in a corner like this, acting, and they were hanging on to things. I think that's quite interesting to sort of watch all that peripheral kind of nonsense.
It actually reminded me of, in America you see that, you know, when you channel hop there, they have soap operas in Spanish, and if you turned the sound down, it would have just looked like one of these kind of Spanish soap operas, except they put music in the background. In fact, that might help Triangle. If they put kind of mood music in the back of it as well, it might help the scenes along.
I think it's quite good that when I haven't seen it for a while, and the woman with the short blonde hair came in, and there was another actor there, and there was this kind of immediate kind of frisson, and you knew that in like the previous series he'd been having an affair with her daughter or had smashed up her car.
It's full of that.
You know,
I mean, it's impossible also to follow. I mean, one has a feeling that all sorts of things have gone on, and you know, they're not completely unexplained.
There was actually one great...
a lot of meaningful looks.
Well, there's one great bit in the first episode, I think, that we saw, that where the woman with the short blonde hair said the craziest things happen on this ship.
Yeah. But I'm interested in the way that you enjoy it, because, I mean, what about Bill's point that if you were an actor, which you are, I mean, he felt these actors must be very dispirited at having to say these very wooden, unrealistic, unconvincing lines, but this obviously doesn't. You don't see it that way.
I don't know. It's difficult to know without knowing the production and all that, what spirit they're taking in it. I mean, I certainly know there's some quiz shows that come out of Anglia or something where everybody's really secretly going tee hee 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 at the kind of khaki things that they actually do, and I don't know whether the crew and all
I don't think that's forgivable, or
no,
because the fact is.
Yeah.
The thing that makes me suspicious is that I suspect that the production has the same attitude to its audience as it has to the passengers on the ship, that they're actually just some kind of mass kind of herd that don't really matter. And that the focus that is in the kind of the scripts actually makes me suspicious of
I don't like that. I mean,
I
think it's much better if people are wholeheartedly going for it, but I think you do often get that thing, especially these days, where you know, the director's been to college and they're all going, well, yeah, you know, we know really, you know, we're having everybody on. I think it's, I don't like that.
Just let me ask you this, it's very popular. It's got, I think, 11 million viewers. It's come back to its third season. I mean, are you saying, Bill, that the public as a whole really cannot differentiate between the first rate and the third rate?
Well, I presume that soap operas fill some kind of need, and I presume that the need that they fill is the kind of back garden gossip kind of syndrome, where people used to go out and talk to each other and gossip about each
you see,
other.
there are good soap operas, aren't there?
But it's just the setting doesn't suit that, because you've got this crew, you know, and they're having these bickers between each other, and the rest of the world, the mad bombers and all the passengers who are going to want to get to Europe for some reason, they don't matter. So it's just the whole scale of the thing seems to be wrong.
There's no sense of the setting being used. I mean, it's totally unconvincing as a North Sea ferry. I mean, it's a good idea that's been completely underutilised.
If you take a soap opera like Coronation Street, which is successful, in my view, deservedly, because, I mean, there is characterisation, there is a certain amount of dialogue, there's a certain amount of realism. And yet the public doesn't seem to distinguish, in a way, in its viewing figures, between one or the other.
Partly, I don't know whether it's anything to do with the earlier slot, that in fact a lot of people at that time, when Triangle and Crossroads, which is the other one, are on, they're actually having their tea and having a bath and that kind of thing. You know, I think the telly's on, but people aren't paying attention.
Yes.
Really, I think anything.
Interesting to know what proportion of those people are actually following the plot. And